Hello everyone, today I'm going to show you how you can connect a GitHub repository to your IBM Rapid Network Automation environment. This makes it easy to upload your workflows that you've created into Git, and as well as being able to retrieve the workloads that are currently in the Git repository. So I'm going to go ahead first of all, and I'm going to go over to my workflows panel here. So I'll just click on workflows. I can see that currently I have no workflows in the system. So I'm going to go ahead and just create a simple workflow here. So create workflow button. I'll call this my test workflow. And I'll create it. And this is just the standard starting workflow that you get when you create a new workflow within Rapid Network Automation. So if I hit run here, it'll actually complete. It'll tell me that execution has been successfully completed. It says hello world. So I have a working workflow now. I go back here now, I can see that my test workflow is existing in my my user directory. But now I want to be able to write this up into Git. So in order to do that, first thing I need to do is you have a Git account, and this is an enterprise Git account that I'm using here. And so the first thing you'll want to do is you'll need to be able to log into your Git account. And so typically what you end up doing is you need to go down here into settings for your profile. Scroll down to the bottom where it says developer settings on the left. And then you need to be able to create a personal access token so that you can use this for your password when you're logging into your Git repo. So I'm just going to generate a new token here. This is for my test repo. Okay, and you can set how long do you want this to last. I'll just do a quick 7-day one here, and I just want to give myself repo permissions. And then at the bottom you hit generate token. Okay, so it's going to generate this token. You need to copy this and put it somewhere safe in case you need to reference it again. So in my case, I'm just going to put it into a notepad view so that I can make sure that I'm able to get at it later if I need to. Okay, so now that I've got my token, I can go ahead and I need to create a repo within Git for my my workflows. So I'll go back to my repositories here, and you have this. You can there's a plus right here. I'm just going to do a new repository, and I'll just call it test repo. And then I'll go ahead and create it. Okay. And then it gives you this quick setup that you can do, where it'll create a README file for you initially. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab that, and I'm just going to run that from my local desktop here. I'm going to create a directory just so I can execute this within that. Okay, so now I'm in there. So I'm just going to go ahead and paste this. Okay, in this case, I've already logged into my Git repo from the system, so it's using token that I already have in the system. But what this did then is just created my first commit into my new repo. So if you go up here and you just click on your repo again, you'll see that you have the README MD file, which tells you that the name of the repo is called test-repo. Okay, so now the next step, what we need to do is going back to Rapid Network Automation, is we need to be able to link this to Git. So there's a Git configuration setting here, but the first thing we actually need to do is go to authentications, and within this I'm going to create a new authentication. I'm going to call it Git test, and then the service is Git, and it's going to ask me for things like the URL. So the first thing you need to do is you go back to your Git URL here, and you need to copy the URL for the path to your Git repo. So copy that, and then go ahead and paste that in here, and then put a .git at the end of it. The branch is going to be main. Username will be your GitHub username, or your Git username, and then the password is going to be that key that we had earlier. So if I can kind of drag this down here. So here's that key that was generated before, that personal access token. And I'm going to put that in there, and then I'm going to put my email address in here. Okay. From there, I'll hit create. And you see now it's created this new Git test authentication within Rapid Network Automation. So these authentications, they're used within workflows, as well as when you're connecting your environment to Git. You create an authentication for Git first of all. Now what you can do is you go into Git config here, and you can select your auth key. So I want Git test, and it's automatically then, that's all I need to do because I've already created the authentication for it. I'll hit save. Okay, so now I want to push up my new test workflow up into my repo. So I'm going to do git push and test workflow new, give it a message. It'll go ahead and push this up into a Git for you then. Just wait for a moment or two, and it should push it up there. So you see flows have been pushed to the repository. So now if I go back to my repo and I do a refresh on it, I can see that my test workflow is now existing here. You can look at it. You can see the YAML code associated with this workflow, which is great. So I was able to successfully push that into my repo. So now, say that I'm in here and I delete this, and I have buyer's remorse. I wish I hadn't deleted that. What I can do now is I can do a git pull, and it's going to pull, and it restored that workflow for me. So here it is. I didn't end up losing it because it's in Git for me, and it still works. Okay, so hopefully you'll find this useful in doing the initial setup with hooking up Git into your IBM Rapid Network Automation environment, and have a great day.